Thank you very much. Ambassador, distinguished guests, I think about this moment usually all week, mostly because I dislike public speaking and standing up in front of everybody. And I always say to people that if I knew I had to do public speaking, I mightn't have ever started the charity. But this is a very easy speech. I don't think in all of the 7 or nearly 8 years since I started this crazy project, I have been so proud of the people who stand in front of me. It broke all of our hearts at the start of this long week when we saw the rain pouring down. I watched all of you work through it until really there was no point continuing. I watched you walk back to the coaches, washed out and soaked to the skin. But I knew at the same time that the rain might go through you, but your determination would not stop you. 1 or 2 men, veterans that I'd known over the years, and watched me, watching them, and some of them reflected on, do you remember 5 or 6 years ago, that dreadful day up in Mizamieto when it poured out? And when we came in the following morning, and a lot of the houses that we had built had been blown over by the wind that followed the rain. And I listened to some of you deeply, deeply upset that you had now met families for the first time in shacks on the Sunday of this week, and you had seen children soaked to the skin. Some of you even saw 1 or 2 shacks where the roof collapsed with the water that had gathered on top of it. And I myself passed a shack and stopped and looked in, and there was a young mother, maybe 25. She had 2 little twins in the corner, 12 weeks old, a blanket no heavier than my shirt, and was doing her best to keep them warm through that terrible Sunday. And maybe, they say what doesn't break you makes you stronger. The following day, the weather wasn't great in the morning, but all of you came into work, well, except 2, and you came into work, and every single person that I met getting off different coaches said to me, we're going to make up for yesterday. We're going to try and regain the ground we've lost. We run such a tight program, it's almost impossible to make up lost time. When you're only building for 6 or 7 days, if you lose effectively the guts of a day, it really is impossible. Today, after most of you had left, the foremen and team leaders and medics gathered, for a moment to reflect on the trip and most importantly, to count the numbers. And John Moore, who's been a special part of this charity now for several years as one of our key foremen volunteers, counted up the houses. Our original target was 75. And at the end of the Sunday, we sat down and we reckon now maybe 56 or 58 houses would be handed over today, Friday. But I am delighted to tell you that we didn't just complete 40, 50 or 60 or 70. We finished, and you finished, 82 houses. Well done. So this proves our charity is now ready to do blitzes in Donegal or Kerry or the west of Ireland any time of year. There's another 26 houses that just need a lick of paint, and they are ready to be handed over. And our South African staff have said that another 100 houses are almost completed, and they will ensure on your behalf that they are handed over before Christmas. Orla has gone to a lot of trouble to thank, a lot of people. And I'm not going to go over that again, but I would like to especially thank our South African staff. Not everybody realises, except the early crew of 4 men, that all of our South African staff are first in work every day. Many of them start at 6 a.m. simply with the pride of being ready and having everything ready for you guys. No money and nothing could reward the dedication that they put into this trip to make it work for you. So if I could I ask all of you to recognise their effort with a warm round of applause.